Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Galen Healthcare Allscripts Analytic Introductory Webcast. My name is Dave Berner, and I'll be going through the analytics product with you. Just want to go through a couple of the actual pieces of information that we're going to be able to go through today. First off, I'd like to go through the schedule. Don't worry, we'll definitely be getting into the product. I'll be showing you how to do searches and worksheets and crosstabs and all that good stuff. That is what people are really trying to get the benefit out of analytics for. But I'd like to start with just a brief background on what analytics is, as well as the overview of the ETL process itself, and also just give a quick background on what Precision BI application has and what the different types of pieces that are involved with that. To begin with, analytics is really a Precision BI application that is allowing users to interact with the data from their Works database, which is what you're seeing in your Allscripts EHR, through a GUI that they've created, and basically this data has been transformed. How is this tool really being used? I see it really being used as a reporting tool. It's something that you can use during business live hours, because it's literally a snapshot of where you were at last night, and you don't have to worry about running against the production server, causing any kind of delays or any kind of backups that way. How does this data get into Precision BI? Well, that happens through a process called ETL, which stands for Extract, Transform, Load. For extract, what happens is there's a process that runs, and I'll go through this in a very high level. I don't want to bore anybody with the details here, and that could be something for a different webcast. But what it does is there's a job in the SQL that actually extracts all the data that's in the Works database, and it transforms it. And how that is done is a fairly complicated process, but what it does is it filters it sorts, and it joins, and it aggregates this data to fit the needs of what analytics product is looking for. So it basically pulls a bunch of different tables together and reforms them in different formats that are easier to query off of through the analytics product. Finally, it loads it. It puts that transformed data into the AHS Relate database, which is the actual database that analytics works off of. One thing to note is this is done in one full load the very first time you do it, because you have to pull all your information out of your Works database, and then from that point on, this should be switched to an incremental load where all it does is load up the pieces that have actually changed. So I'm just going to go real quick into the actual product, into the analytics here, and what I'm looking at right now is called Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. I just want to show at a very high level what exactly I was talking about right there. So right here I have the actual database open. It's called AHS Test 2. And you can see that if I expand databases here, you can see that there's an AHS Relate database. Let me go ahead and expand that too. And you see there's a thing called tables. So tables are you can think of it as just where all your information is stored. So when we expand it, you can see that you have a number of tables that are prefaced with AHS. And you can expand these and see the different columns that are part of these. And all these AHS tables are the actual analytics tables that where the data is actually living whenever you're working in the Precision BI product. We can minimize that, and you can see that there's also a number of stored procedures that it does. These are like functions that analytics actually works off of when it's performing any kind of calculations or anything like that. The next thing I wanted to point out is, as I said, there's a job that actually runs, and when that job runs, it performs the ETL process where it's actually pulling the data from your live Works database and moving it to this AHS Relate database. I've heard a lot of people are interested in how this works, or maybe there's a problem they're having with it for whatever reason. The way that you can actually find this out is you log into whichever server your job is running off of, and you can maximize your SQL Server agent, you can maximize your jobs, and you see there's an Analytics ETL 2.0 job. If we right-click that and look at properties, we can see exactly what it's doing, and this will come up here in 1 second here, but you'll see that there's a couple steps that come into it. It extracts, pulling the data from the Works database, and then it updates that via this Precision Update step. You can set your schedule here. This is something that was probably set by your Allscripts representative, whoever installed analytics for you. and you set that to be a recurring one at whatever time that you know there's not going to be any providers in the system, so they won't affect anything. You can set up alerts and notifications. You can have them basically email you whenever the ETL fails for whatever reason. There's a number of different pieces that you can do. If you're interested in seeing if the ETL is actually working, you can always right-click on that job and just click View History, and that's going to pull up the history, and it's going to show you the last number of times that the ETL ran, whether it was a success. As you can see, we haven't ran it since the 28th, but it's always been a success. If there was an error, there'd be a red X, and there'd be some details there telling you exactly what failed. Another piece I want to talk about is under integration services. If you just connect into integration services as opposed to a database engine, be able to maximize that. And this is where you can see the actual package that the ETL is running as. And if you maximize that, you'll see under MSDB you have V11 incremental. And you can go into this and you can run the actual ETL right there. But from there you can see where your configurations are being set. And I just happen to have the configuration file open here. This is something I'm going to talk about in very high detail here, but if you actually are able to find this V11 settings DTS config file, you'll see all the different configuration settings you have in here. And within here, this is the actual XML file that you would be editing if you wanted to change any pieces of your ETL process there. But as I said, really something more for a different webcast, but I really wanted to just at least at a high level be able to talk about exactly what the ETL was, because I think that's something that's important and a lot of people don't fully understand. Next thing I want to talk about is a little bit about the Precision BI product right here. So as you can see, I have this showing right here, and we have a couple of different tabs. So ad hoc, we have worksheets, analysis, charts, custom reports, access center. So worksheets you can kind of think of as the detailed level of all the information that exists. Analysis are really cross tabs, and this is kind of a higher level where you're able to drill into what you want to see. It's more like an at-a-glance type chart. Then you have analytics charts is where you can get graphs and pictures that really are visually stimulating. Custom reports, this is the reporting that they do within the analytics. It's kind of like Crystal reports or something like that. If you've ever worked with it, it kind of looks like that. And Access Center is something where you can actually build dashboards for analytics. And these are other pieces that we'll cover in later webcasts, but for today we're going to focus on worksheets and analysis. Another tab right here you see is administration. This is really where you're going to be running user management, creating new passwords, new users. There's object management. It's a way of just organizing all the different types of searches and the different pieces that you have here. The rest of these are a number of different tabs, and you can think of these tabs as different folders where you collect your different searches or custom reports or analysis or worksheets or whatever you'd like, and you can kind of group them in whichever way you want. So we mainly deal with the development tab here, but these are customizable, and you can really change that to whatever you'd like. And that's basically what I just went through in that slide right there. So let's go ahead and get into the demonstration of the actual product here. I'm going to go through a number of different things. I'm going to begin really with a worksheet. So as I said, a worksheet is really the detailed information of what you're looking at, and it shows all the records in a query. The way these things work is they need to be linked up to a search. This goes for both worksheets and crosstabs. And like I said, crosstabs is like a higher level view of a worksheet where it doesn't show as much detail. But if you see something that's an anomaly or something that doesn't look right, you're able to kind of dive right into it right there and see exactly what's going on in the underlying worksheet with more detail. But as I said, both of these need to be aligned to something that's called a search. So the way I like to think about it is when you're about to create one of these, the search is going to define what do you want to see. It's going to be what results are going to be displayed. There's a number of ways to do it. We're going to go through the standard or the quick search way. If you're familiar with SQL, they also have a tool where you're able to build SQL queries right there, but this is not what we're going to be dealing with in this tutorial here. Two different types of advanced searches. We'll actually do a nested search. I just kind of want to explain the difference between them because I know this is something that trips people up a lot. In nested searches, you'll see that your results will become a subset of your parent search, and we'll do this so it'll be a little more clear, but if you want to think about it as a Venn diagram, your parent search would be the big circle, and your nested search would be the results that are within a circle of the larger circle. The difference is between that and a stack search is when it pulls from multiple equal searches. At any rate, what you need to really concern yourself is with nested searches, you're looking at a subset of another search, whereas stack searches, they're both equal searches.